Welcome to Professional Insights, sponsored by Dementia Action Alliance. My name is Paula Ann Gordon, and I'm on the advisory board for DAA. I am also living with vascular dementia now for 8 years. Today, I welcome Cynthia G. Farrell to Professional Insights to tell us about adult protective services. Let me tell you a little bit about Ms. Farrell. Cynthia Farrell is the State Administrative Manager for the Supportive Adult Services section within the Aging and Adult Services Agency. She has oversight and administration of policies and procedures for 2 adult services programs, the Adult Community Placement and Adult Protective Services. Ms. Farrell now oversees the following programs: the Legal Services Developer Program, State Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, and the Prevent Elder Abuse Prevention Grants Program. Cynthia Farrell has extensive knowledge about adult service issues. She's worked in various roles with progressive responsibilities involving adult services. Ms. Farrell has a total of 27 years with the state of Michigan and 26 years in adult services. She earned her bachelor's degree in human development with a concentration in gerontology from St. Mary's College of Maryland. Welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you, Pauline. I'm glad to be here.
Happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Let's just dive right in and talk about what is the purpose and goal of adult protective services and how does it accomplish these challenges?
The goal and purpose, the purpose is for safety and protection of vulnerable adults. And that may vary by state. For in Michigan, we have a statute that says vulnerable adult is anyone 18 or older who has either a cognitive or mental or physical impairment or is considered advanced aged. And our goal is to provide the least restrictive and least intrusive intervention when a referral comes in on someone that's considered a vulnerable adult. We want to work with that client it's for them to remain in their home, and we want to make sure that their voice is heard. We will work with them and any support system that they may have, and if they don't have supports, then we are there to help connect them to support services. But the main purpose is the protection and safety, and make sure that our intervention is as least intrusive as it can be. I was going to say we accomplish these with the adult, because adults have rights and they can refuse our services, or they can welcome our services and help get services in place that they may not have been aware of. And we just are there to be a resource and a help to that person.
When and under what circumstances should an individual make an APS referral?
To make a report, you have to have some type of a belief, or you have that gut feeling that someone that you've encountered is being harmed, or there's been threatened harm. The categories that we have in Michigan that we look at are abuse, neglect, and exploitation. And under each of those, there are subcategories. Like for abuse, there could be physical abuse, there could be emotional abuse, and unfortunately, there is sexual abuse that occurs. We have neglect, which could be by someone that's in a caregiving role for someone, and there's also self-neglect, where a person is self-neglectful to themselves. And then under exploitation, people can have financial exploitation occur against their funds, their valuables, their property. And then we also have human dignity, where someone could be exploited, the human dignity being exploited. So if you have a concern that you think somebody has been threatened or harmed in any of these areas, that is when, and it rises to a level where you think intervention needs to occur, that's when you should make a report.
Is it something that you should go to the family? If you're an outsider and you see or suspect something, should you approach the family or not?
Depends on the situation. Do you think it's the family causing the abuse? That might cause more harm, but you know, if you don't think it's being caused by the family probably would be the best place to start to kind of understand the situation. You might have to observe and interact multiple times to kind of figure out what's going on in a situation. But when it rises to the level where you are uncomfortable with what you're seeing or hearing, and your gut is saying something's not right, go ahead and make that report.
Okay, well, thank you. I think you've addressed probably who should make the referral a little bit. How do they do it?
It's going to differ by state. A lot of states have toll-free numbers where someone's answering the phone, usually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you can make the referral to that toll-free number. And depending on how each state is set up, at least in Michigan, the referral is reviewed at our centralized intake area where the referral comes in, and we have to make sure that the person has a vulnerability and that there's harm. Those are the two criteria for Michigan. And then it's assigned to a local office where the person is located, and an adult protective services worker will then make contact with the client to find out, talk to them and find out what, if the allegations are true or not. So they would make that referral. Some states have web-based ability for you to make a referral through an email or through a website. We're not quite there yet with our technology, but Michigan is working on looking into those avenues as well.
Can you make an anonymous referral?
Yes, you can. Anyone can make a referral, and you would have to look at each state would have laws about whether you have mandatory reporters, and we do here in Michigan have mandatory reporters. As you would suspect would be your healthcare professionals, doctors, EMS. If you work for a school, you're working for a healthcare agency, you're a licensed social worker. If you maintain a license in Michigan, you are a mandated reporter. And that just means that you are held at a higher level to make a report, but any concerned citizen can make a report on APS.
Okay.
And you can remain anonymous. The mandated reporters, they have to indicate that they're a mandated reporter and give us their information, but all that information is kept confidential. For Michigan, we don't give any information out about who made the referral.
I see. What actually are the consequences of making a referral to both the individual who makes the referral and the person who is involved? What happens?
And the consequences for the person making the referral source, states will differ, but most states have what they call a good faith clause, or it's called immunity from civil penalty, or a good faith clause, where if you in good faith make a referral because you sincerely believe that this person was being harmed or be threatened to be harmed, and you made that referral in good faith, you are exempt from being sued for that. And that is very important. The other piece that I said, we keep that referral source information confidential. The only way in Michigan for that referral source name to ever be released is through court order, where a judge would have to write an order saying you must give up who the referral source is. And in my years with doing this, I've only had one court order come through, and that was been in the last 2 years. So it happens very rarely.
What would you like to add to this discussion? What are some of your thoughts about this or advice to people? Because we work with a lot of people that are living with dementia, and a lot of people I know actually enter these individuals, and they sometimes run across situations that they're not sure what to do about.
Yeah, and for the person, I was going to say, for the person who the referral is about, one of the consequences would be someone's going to make contact with them if it's a sign, to kind of see what is happening and if the allegations that were alleged are true or false. And that person who the referral's made about, as I indicated earlier, our goal is to work with them and least restrictive, least intrusive. So we would be talking to them and having them explain their situation. Is there a need? Do they see a need? And if there is it being met? Do they already know what resources they have available? And are they connected to those resources? If they're not, then it'd be our goal to connect them to those resources so that we leave them with information and connection to resources, or they may choose to refuse our services as well. That,
Okay.
They have a right to do that.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I didn't know how it worked exactly. I know there's a website for National Adult Protective Services Association. The website is www.napsa-org, and we show a slide of that. What information, I know that everything goes by state. So what information can you get on this national site?
On the national site, it will give you each state listed there, who the representative is for that state, and how to get a hold of them. It also gives information on abuse and neglect and exploitation as a whole, that we see it across the United States. You find information on definitions and prevalence of abuse across the United States. They have a conference every year. It's held in different states each year. They bring a lot of professionals together. They have courses that you can take. Some of them are free, some of them are costs that they offer on the website. And it has a lot of background information. If you're not familiar with Adult Protective Services, it's a good place to start to get information and to get educated.
Do you have any other thoughts that last thoughts you'd like to add before we close?
I would say that, with dementia and the different varieties and the Alzheimer's, when people living living with the dementia and people at younger ages, you're educating us as well. When we come out, where we learn a lot of different things in our backgrounds for Adult Protective Services workers, they have different backgrounds, but you can teach us as well as to what you're still able to do and do well, and what you need, your choices are, and where you feel that you need help with and where you don't need help with. I think it's a two-way street, educating us as to ways we can help you live more successfully with dementia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy work day to speak with me, Cynthia. I think you've answered a lot of questions.
Okay.
So I wanted to our audience, I just wanted to let everybody know, if you enjoyed today's interview, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can see all of our videos. And do consider making a donation to our cause at daanow.org. Thank you so much.
We're living beyond dementia, connecting our lives to help us survive, so we live our time.